Quick and Dirty Show. Oh,
It was counting. You're good now.
Okay. Welcome to the Quick and Dirty Show. I'm so excited to announce this episode. We've been looking forward to this episode for a while now. Me and Maggie have just really been planning all these wonderful speakers, and this time we have a dynamic duo, Jeff and Jody Judge, and I met them back in Kelowna in October. I actually sat next to Jody, and just their energy and as a couple and as individuals has just been a joy and a privilege to be a part of and watch them grow together and raise their family. So I'd love to be able to introduce them and allow them to take the mic here and just really go into their story and their background, and we're excited to get all the value from you today.
Well, thank you so much for inviting us. We're totally excited to be here.
Absolutely.
This is just so outside our comfort zone, even doing these, but the fact that you guys are bringing us on, we completely appreciate you, appreciate your audience. So thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
So I guess we'll just start a little bit. So
Yeah, go ahead.
I got into the business probably last August at the end there. And about a month later, Jeff jumped on because he saw such a great personal development side on me. Like I had been battling so many emotions, I had anxiety and depression. And as soon as I started this business, it kind of just all went out the window. I finally found a passion and a desire and a drive. So after a month of watching from the sidelines, Jeffrey decided to jump on board because he wanted to see exactly what his wife was up to.
Yeah, what changed you in such a short amount of time? I couldn't believe it. Like we've read books, listened to things before and tried to kind of work on it, but in such a short time with this community, she was able to make such a transformation. It just blew me away.
Yeah, so I jumped on board, and then a month later, Jeff jumped on board, and he was really working the 12 to 14-hour days in the patch. So he would come home actually and hustle for like 2 to 3 hours in the evening after working a 14-hour shift to make sure he got caught up on the training, make sure that he understood what was going on, so that when he came on his days off, we could start cranking the business together. It was cool though because we didn't run our business together; we ran it separately. It was only just before Christmas that we really found our targets and our niches were very similar. So I was like, well, why don't we join forces? Why don't we make it a unison business and go under the Ride Free Live Boss lifestyle to make sure that we can be hitting the same target together and focusing on each other's weaknesses and strengths. So you're very techie, like really techie, and I'm more of the content, social media kind of aspect side of it. So it kind of really plays off and works well together.
It does, yeah. Since we both started out in this business on our own separate pages and everything, it was good because we both got the chance to see all aspects of this business on our own and kind of get a feel for what it's all like. And then we realized that our weaknesses are each other's strengths. So it's like, why don't we combine into a super couple?
Perfect dynamic duo, right? And I guess we should have said, so what you guys do in general is you do social media marketing and kind of like network marketing, social media marketing. So I know there's so many people that are in that space right now, and a lot of times it is just one half of the couple, right? And I know, my God, I am so similar to you guys. My husband's the techie guy, and I'm the other side of it. And he was really interested in what I was doing because there were huge changes in me as well. So it's definitely not just about business. It's about growing yourself and your skill set and everything, right? Which is so awesome.
Well, and that's
you guys are obviously meant to be like perfectly together.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's something that, like, you know, when you were bringing up how, you know, Jeff noticed such a difference in you, Jody, that's something that happened with me and Brent as well. Like, Brent's not really, he's supporting the business, but he is not in the limelight. And it took him a bit, like when I first started, but all of a sudden I had this drastic change, and he was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you're a different person. And it's so funny when I see couples go through that experience together, because it usually does start with the one. It usually starts with one person making a shift in their lives. And then the other one is like, ooh, like you're so much happier. Like I want that for myself. So yeah, I think that's just absolutely awesome that you guys were able to experience that. And not to mention you're showing that to your children, right? At such a young age. So yeah.
Yeah, just
what is your goal for this year that you will be hitting by summer? What is that?
By summer? By summer, okay, so we have a few things on the go right now. Like one is our house sale. So that is going to sell in the next 4 weeks. I can feel it. And then as soon as that sells, we're going to get our trailer all ready to go. And we want to start traveling in our trailer for the next 3 months from June till August. And then we definitely want to hit a really good rank within our business. 5A is our goal. And we want to start making at least 5 figures online each month. And then by the end of the year, 6A, and making 6 figures, have that 6-figure year. We're definitely on the trajectory. However, I just want everybody to know, like business, all you guys, even you, Mandy and Alex, like running our own business is very up and down. You have the most highest of highs and you have the most lowest of lows. So even though even though we're coming off like this power couple, behind the scenes, we're definitely having our struggles. Like we are pretty much doing, like we have an amazing supportive team. However, we are still doing everything. Like we're not relying on anybody to get to where we want to go. It's completely 100% on us at this moment. So it's been kind of like a whirlwind trying to work with everybody's emotions and working with our emotions. And I know we just came off this amazing event called Awaken, where you have like, you're super high on life after that. However, you go back into reality and you're like, okay, now what? Like, how do I manage those emotions? How do I get over that hump? How do I work with that circumstance? So that's definitely been a whirlwind into our business and into our life. And as much as we have these goals and we really want to hit them, we're not holding ourselves, like we're holding ourselves accountable, but we're not holding ourselves down if we do not hit it. It's just how do we plan for the next and how do we keep going kind of thing. And Jeff goes back to work for 4 weeks here on Wednesday, and we are setting our first challenge together. Just him and I, we're having a 6-week challenge.
And we're going to hold each other accountable every morning.
Yeah, so that includes doing our DMOs. We're definitely getting more into yoga. So we're going to be practicing yoga every day, meditating, making sure we even just sit up straight and getting things done. And we're going to be doing a little vlog with that will come out at the end of that 6 weeks, because we're going to really document the whole series. This is going to be a tough challenge for him and I to do, because we haven't done a challenge together in ever, I think. I mean, we've done fitness challenges within our gyms, and that's like the last time I did a fitness challenge was like 4 years ago. So like our bodies are just craving something, our mind is craving something, and I want to take what we learned at Awaken to the next level. I want to become the best version of myself and his self. So we're really going to step up to the plate this year, and that's something that we've been really lacking in the personal side. We may be great on the business side, however, our mindset, our personal development is down here, I would say.
Well, that's what we came out of the event with, really. Like every time we want to go hard in the business, we go hard on the business side of things. We don't take the time to fill our cups, do things for ourselves first.
Yeah.
So that's really what this challenge is all about, like making sure we do our own things to fill our own cups, make sure we have enough fulfillment within us in order to help serve others better in that regard.
Yeah, and that includes not even touching the phone or our social media business until we've done our DMOs, and like making sure. So the first 30 minutes of the day, it said, we were listening to a podcast that's when you have your, what was it?
That's when you're just the most
susceptible to learning and improving, going over your dreams.
And creative state. You're coming out of like that theta wave from sleeping, right?
Yeah.
So this is something that I've recently started doing. I was in a business mentorship right now, and that's what was required of us, to wait an hour before touching our social media, before touching our phone. And it really creates this control within my life. Like no longer am I like reactionary. First thing in the morning, wake up and start looking through messages, and you're reacting to your social media. And then that sets up your whole day to be reactionary versus you taking control and saying, no, this hour is for me, my growth, my personal health. And then I'll jump into that once my head is in a good space. So I love that you guys do that.
Exactly.
Yes. I love that you're doing that, because that's something that we just started adapting, and that's exactly it. You wake up in the morning, you check your phone, and you completely start reacting. You completely start competing against who else is in the system, and you're like, okay, now I don't know what to do, and I'm all frazzled. And then you just keep thinking about that day in, day in, out. And it's like, if we can take that time to really focus on ourselves in that first 30 to an hour, you really come out as a better person on the other side. And like
you set your day up to win.
Yeah, exactly. And like Jeff said, if we're not full 100% in our cup, how can we be 100% in other people's? Like, so that's something definitely we're practicing.
And I think so many people can relate to that. Again, regardless of what business you're in, if you do work for yourself, I mean, if you're not working on yourself, I mean, you're putting the vibes out there that you're unhappy. Like, who's going to be wanting to engage with any of your content, or how can you lift others up when you're empty? You know,
Exactly.
So that's something I struggle with. I go all business, all technical side, and then I'm like, yeah, haven't been sleeping, haven't been eating right, and I'm just not putting my best self out there. So that is a huge thing that I think a lot of people miss in the space of working for themselves. It's working on yourself as well.
Well, that's exactly it. And I just noticed like a common thread between some leaders within our community is that the one thing they wish they would have started was the personal development side sooner, instead of just being business, because now they're having to retract, even though they're having great success. Now it's like, now what? I've had that success. Now how do I get to the next level? And for us to be so early in the game and being able to recognize that and have that control, I think we're just going to be
that much better off.
That much better off for all of us. Yeah. Like, that is such a huge thing. And the personal development side is actually the coolest part, because you get to discover yourself and who you are and how you can bring yourself and impact the world, and it changes your perspective. And that's what I love, because I used to be such an angry person. I'd be like, F this driver in front of me, or like fingering people, or like just be such like a mad person. And now I walk around, I'm like, thank you. You guys have a blessed day. Oh, if anything's worrying in your day, I'm sending you true abundance. So like, it's just like changing your attitude. And even with the kids, you can be like, oh, you guys are driving us crazy. And then you just have to go for like a minute. You're like, decompress. Okay, how can I change their life and help impact their life? And I send them each night, I kiss them on the head now when they're sound asleep, and I send them much gratitude, much abundance, and much love for their next day, because the kids are just so full of emotions. So especially ours.
This is it's funny that you bring up how it affects your kids, because you know, since I've started this, I've noticed a huge shift in my parenting. You know, we went into this, I don't know about you guys, but I know for me and a lot of other people, we go into business for the financial aspect. We want the financial freedom, the time freedom. But what I didn't realize is all of the other little things that it was going to impact greatly. My parenting, which is one of them. And I never realized, you know, not that I'm going to judge myself for how I parented before, but I was not present with my kids. I was reactionary. I was very angry all the time. Their overwhelm would get me overwhelmed. And so now I have this sense of calmness and patience and understanding, because I've gone through that personal growth within myself, and I have context behind why they have these big emotions. And I like, that's something that people miss so often, whether you're you know, reading personal development books for yourself, or, you know, you're wanting to help other people, or you're just wanting to become a better parent. When you're lacking that context behind why you want that change, it becomes very difficult to actually make that shift. But once you start diving into the personal development, the books, the events, the, you know, hanging out with these high vibe kind of people, you start to understand the context of why you want this change and how to do it. So, you know, it really does start with our kids too. Like, you guys are making such a big impact, not only within the community outside of your family, but with your kids. Like, you now are upbringing these children who are going to go out into the world and who are going to create something massive, and even after you're gone, which I think is the most exciting thing as a parent. So yeah,
it is. It's very true. And like, the greatest part is being able to recognize it within ourselves and to develop our children in such a beautiful state because they are so impersonable and they react to every little thing, even though like we still have our moments, like it's still a work in progress. Like you can't be perfect 100% of the time.
Human. Yeah, exactly.
But even just like talking to Jackson, our oldest, a little bit easier instead of being like, what, you don't get it? What? And like, that's how I used to be. And now it's like, okay, well, let's talk through your emotions. I'm sorry you're feeling that way. And it's just been like, it's opened my eyes to like so many different communicative patterns. And I love that he is starting to recognize it a little bit more. And I think if we can keep instilling it, which we will, we'll have like, he'll be brilliant.
Yeah. Well, our kids are such a reflection of us, right? They feed off us, our energy, our attitude. So if we can learn to control ourselves and project that onto them, then they got the best chance of success for sure.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing right now for your meditation practice? I know a lot of people, men and women alike, struggle with getting into meditation, getting out of your own head. And I think, Jody, you and I are pretty similar with like our personality types and where our minds go. What have you guys done, and do you find it's working for you?
Oh, go ahead.
So what we've actually done in this last Awaken event, we've went inside of our heads and built a workshop where we can. There's our youngest.
Say hi.
We went and built a workshop. Like you visualize a space where you feel most at peace, and you can kind of get some work done, or just okay, thanks. Some scenery, something that really just gives you that sense of wholeness and that feeling of peace. And so myself, I visualize like our dream acreage having our a shop there, and I have my workshop within that. So when I close my eyes and try to get into that headspace, I walk myself into my shop, sit in my office, and just kind of. I have a computer there. I have a conference table. I have a screen. I have everything, books and everything set up within this office that I can really sit down and just look at whatever angle I want to focus on at that moment in time, whether it's something in the business, something in personal life. Like I just envision a result or something I really want in my life. And then I allow the universe to figure out the how. I don't think of how it's going to happen, what I have to do to get from point A to point B. I just see the result, really try to get in that feeling of what it's going to be like once I've acquired that result. And then, I let the universe figure out the rest from that point on.
Yeah,
so
I love
like
that.
A visualizing meditation kind of thing. You're doing the visual side. Gotcha. Have you guys ever looked into using a Muse headband? I just started doing that.
Did you? That's awesome. Yeah, we definitely looked into that. That's definitely something that we would try. His meditation is a little bit different than mine, where like he can kind of sit with the lights on and meditate, where I have to be in a dark room. I have to have some music. As much as I get into that state of gratification, I also send so much out into the world first before I even make it about myself. So I'm constantly going throughout my day, thanking people who I've had interactions with. Thank you to the money that I've spent that day. Just thanking everything that's happened to me. And then I get into that meditative state because I just feel like once I have sent out appreciation and abundance and gratification to others, I can be more receptive to what I'm trying to make. Yeah. So in that way, then I sit in a dark room, I turn on some music. And then from there, I do like the workshop style as well, but I also visualize. I'm more of the elevator in the workshop. Thanks, bud.
No, this is real life. See, kids in and out. This is what it's like.
And I just really focus on so in my workshop, we both, since we learned that at Awaken, I pictured the elevator. So the elevator of the people coming into my life, the elevator of my team coming in and sitting at the round table, the elevator of the couple that I can visualize perfectly buying our house. I just really pictured those people coming in and out. And I really only focus at the elevator because I feel like that's a constant wave of people who I want to impact and share my story, and the constant wave of people who want to impact my life as well. So definitely, and then we focus on that feeling of how it made us feel and the gratification and the emotion attached to it, because, and like Jeff said, I don't really focus on the how either. It's just visualizing who it is and how it's going to happen, or not how, but right.
Oh, I just absolutely love that.
Once you're there.
Yeah, it's so awesome to see different perspectives on the visualization meditation process, because it's different for everyone. It's a really personal experience, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, what works for me doesn't necessarily work for my partner. And so he has his own kind of little setup for visualization. And, you know, once you find what works for you, it is really a trial and error thing. I've tried many different things until I found one that I really was like, oh, this is it. This is what makes me feel pumped up afterwards. I feel calm. I feel assured of my vision for my future. Mm-hmm. And then just go with it, right? So that's awesome that you guys have both found an individual way to visualize and to really concrete that vision that you have for your future, because I'm excited to see what you guys are going to come up with next, because watching you guys grow and expand and evolve as a couple and as individuals has been phenomenal.
Thank you.
That's so weird even for you, like, to hear. Still, like, even when we were at the event, like, I remember going to Diamond Movement, the first event, and I'm like, oh, I know these people, I've just seen them, but everybody was still fairly new. And then going to Orlando and then coming to Awaken, it was like, wow, like, people want to hear our story. People want to connect with us just as much as we want to connect and hear their story. It's just like a sense of empowerment being part of this community, because you don't really realize how important you are until other people start coming to you. And I love that, because that's how I view this community. There's so many dynamics in there that I just like want to share your story. And at Awaken, you really got to learn everybody's story.
Yeah.
Like, half the time you had your eyes closed, but I mean, you got to hear everybody's story.
Got to feel everybody's story more than hear it even.
And there's so much relatability within this community. It's amazing.
Well, and like me and Maddie were just talking the other day about, you know, we have stories that we want to share, and it's something that holds a lot of people back is that, well, I don't know, like, my story's pretty average, or my story, I don't think people want to hear that. But the fact is we have billions and billions of people on this earth, and there are people out there who will resonate with your story, who will connect with your story, and who need to hear it. And so for those people who are watching, who are maybe have been intimidated by wanting, you know, they want to share their story, but that fear is in place, just know that there are people out there who are going to connect with you no matter what, you know, and being vulnerable and sharing. And I love that you guys have been able to do that. You guys have really been vulnerable with your posts, you know, and meeting you guys in person versus meeting you guys on social media. You guys are the same. And I think that's a big factor that comes into play when you're running a business, is being vulnerable and being true to yourself. Like, why? Like, take down the masks and get excited to be who you are and to share who you are.
Yeah, well, that's it. Oh, go ahead, Mandy.
I was just going to agree with her. You guys are very authentic and real, like the two of you right now, and what you show on any of your business stuff is just very real and true to you. And that's a very refreshing thing, because a lot of times you do meet people who you've only known online, and, you know, they're not that same seemingly confident, outgoing, opinionated person. They're just very quiet. And I'm like, it's a little off-putting, right?
Yeah.
So again, being really authentic and putting the true you forward is so important. And I love that you guys do that.
Thank you. It's funny because in the beginning we weren't. We felt like we had something to prove. We wanted to give you all the results right away. And through that personal development is when we kind of discovered, okay, no, like, this is who we are. You have to be authentic. You have to be your real self, because that's exactly it. You could meet that person and you're like, oh, you're nothing like you are on social media, which is majority of social media. Plus, then we're always looking at people and being like, wow, they have the success that I want. I can't do that. I can never duplicate that. But we don't know what's happening in the background. So as long as you can be authentic and be your truest form, you have nothing to prove except just show yourself.
And people want to see the journey. They don't want to see, like, you started this online business and boom, you're successful.
Yeah.
You've made it. They don't want to see that. They want to see your struggles and know that you're human, and this is something that they maybe have a chance at doing too. You struggle, you have your highs, you have your lows, but in the end, you work through it and get to the result that you want.
Absolutely. What was your, like, you guys are really doing a lot of investment in yourself, like time-wise, everything at home, as well as the personal development that you're going on. How did you get past the blocks that you had in place when it came to the financial investment that you're making?
Yeah, so money's always been a struggle for us. I mean, we Jeff has a really good career in the oil field and he makes really good money. And I used to be so stingy. I used to be like, no, we can't go past this in the account. And like, that's like saying like 5 figures in the account or 6 figures. And like, we can't go past that. And then it's like, now it's like, no, we need to spend this. We need to do it. We need to get over that money mindset and that hump because shaving cream for what is it? Slime, you have to have shaving cream for slime.
Well, yeah.
So it's interesting because going to this next event, Activate, is actually like, it's a huge investment. And when we were in Awaken and Todd presented Activate, it was like, that's where we have to be. That is something that we have to invest in. And as much as it like drains our accounts, we know and believe that that money is going to come back to us tenfold. As soon as I made that transaction, I was sending out abundance to everybody because we have to get in that money mindset that everything comes back to us 10 times. And that the fact that we close our eyes and visualize that transaction going through and helping the community, helping people, you just got to know that whatever you put into yourself, that is going to come back to you and you are going to have the greater gratification out of that.
Yeah, we really just try to focus on our money story. Like it's not like we can't afford this, we can't afford that. It's just changing your whole perspective on it. Because if you can't afford things, the universe is always gonna not allow you to afford anything. So
exactly, and that's how we were living. And we had all the money in the world, and it just went away. It just went away with the blink of our eye, and we don't even know what we spent that money on. Now we actually know where our money's going, how it's coming back. Who's it investing into, instead of just going randomly on these random trips and you're like, oh, that was such an instant gratification. No, now we're going to have a long-term gratification that's investing into ourselves. And again, it's just going to come back.
No, I love that. I love that because I know that's the first thing people think is like, okay, well, what are you getting out of this? If you put X number of dollars in, what are you getting out? And it's like, no, it's not about that. I mean, generally, yes, you have a plan, you know where you want to go, but it isn't just a focus on the money. I was speaking with my husband about it, saying like, I don't want to go back to school. That's not the path that I'm on, but I do want to invest in myself. And I think about, the investment he's made in himself over the years from his, Bachelor of Commerce degree and then his accounting designation and then his master's. Like the money that he has invested in himself to get where he is and be successful and love his job is amazing. And yet so many people aren't willing to invest in themselves on a personal level and not an academic level. It like blows my mind. And I think my husband was in that headspace until I said it that way. Like, why am I personally not worth the investment, right? We are. It's just you have to shift your mindset on what you're doing because you are coming out of it with something that will never leave you for the rest of your life. That's what people say about your degree. Oh, your degree will never go away. Well, neither will this, right? It changes your life. So I'm just so excited for you guys.
Well, and really, like, if you want change in your life, no matter what aspect it is, it really does start with your personal, like within you. If you don't change what's going on in your heart and in your head, the thoughts that you're thinking about yourself or about the world, like you said, Jeff, like having that, rewriting that money story, like that was huge for me. Was money, my relationship with money was awful for so long, and realizing that I had the power to rewrite that and create something different that was abundance versus scarcity. And it took that personal development. So starting with the personal development and wanting to make a shift within myself, it's affected my finances, it's affected my business, it's affected my family. Like it starts at the center and then expands to all of these other areas of your life. And it's amazing to watch all these people flourishing in different parts and like all of the parts of their lives, not just one, right? It's not just business. And I see a lot of people go into personal development once they've started a business because, I kind of feel like that's, a lot of businesses like in the entrepreneur world, that, we know that personal development is a big part of our success. But I would love to start seeing more people who aren't entrepreneurs looking in investing themselves. But it's scary, right? It's a scary commitment because you don't really know what to expect unless you're around those high vibe people already, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you go to school and you're putting all this money into it. Like, I'm still paying for my student loans, and it's crazy that I could go to an event, pay a one-time fee, and come out with a lifetime of knowledge over what I've learned in the 4 years of school that I went to. And that is such a common denominator between people nowadays, because they don't know what's out there. They don't understand the concept of personal development. They just understand what was instilled, like learn, go to school, get a job, retire. Like, that's what everybody is living for. So the fact that we are able to be the voice of reason for so many people now, like we're able to share that impact, and we're allowed to create that, and that's what's going to connect with people. And when we're 100%, like, that's just going to show like 1,000,000% into the world.
Yeah, I mean, I was the same as probably both of you guys. We jumped into this business with hopes of
money,
on the financial
money.
end, like, oh yeah, we're gonna make some money. All these guys are making it big on social media. We're gonna do the same. And then we kind of got a little into the personal development, realizing, like, okay, we're part of the community. This is a big part of it, personal development. So we started on that, and within like no time at all, we realized, wow, like, personal development's where we actually want to focus on. We're seeing big changes in our lives, and I just never realized that was even a thing before this. So I didn't have the awareness of personal development until starting with this, and didn't realize the importance. But now that I'm in it, it's like addictive almost. Like,
Yes.
give me all of it. I want more, kind of thing.
Well, it's a common denominator. It's a common denominator between all the successful people in the world. Like, if you watch so many videos of all these leaders in the world who've created such mad success, their common denominator is personal mindset, personal development, manifestation. Like, they all have that. So, like, let's get going on it, and let's make this a reality and show others, like, right now, like what we were missing out on. Like, you watch your friends' posts and things like that on social media, and like, a lot of them are unhappy, a lot of them still suffer from anxiety, and you can give them information, but it doesn't resonate as much as it does until they like first personally step into their power,
until the experience.
So that's all we can do. That's all we can do is just show them, educate them, and show them that there is more out there.
Set that space for them to walk into.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. As you guys know, obviously, that I have two older boys, 13 and 15, and I had heard something about personal development. You know, if you pay them $20 for each book that they read, you know, at least something is eventually going to stick, right? And it would be really worth it to do that. Someone's at my door, and my kids are going to answer it. Just a sec.
That's okay. That's that Caleb Maddox guy. So that's that young. He's like, I think he's 18 now. He's a personal development coach at 18, because that's what his dad did. He went over to a friend's house, and his friend was getting paid for chores. So he went back to his dad, and he's like, well, Dad, like, I want to be paid for chores. And his dad's like, I got something better. You're going to read a book on personal development, and every book that you read and write a report on, I'm going to give you $20. And now he's a millionaire. I think he was a millionaire at 16. He was at the Vancouver event for our community, and he was like a 17-year-old speaking on stage to a bunch of like 30-somethings and up. Like, it's just insane.
Well, and that's just like, that's the proof, right? That's proof that working on yourself and then applying it and teaching it to others, that's something else that is really big. I love that you said that, you know, you're learning, you're growing, but then you're also going out and you're sharing it with other people with no expectation, which is so important. And I really feel like it reiterates everything that you've learned. It's one thing to read the book. It's another thing to read that book, digest it, and then teach it to other people.
Yes.
And
exactly.
That makes the greatest impact. Like, this is the stuff that we're learning within our community and within, you know, just the personal development books and stuff. It is mind blowing. Like, to be able to then share that with other people, like, that's a gift that we can have. We have the ability to change lives with what we're learning, and I love that you guys are doing that. And I'm just so happy that you guys have been on the show and that you guys have tuned in, because, you know, just watching you guys go from, you know, struggling to find your identity, finding your identity as individuals, and then going together as a couple, and then sharing that with people with no expectation. You're just doing it, and you're putting the work out there, and you're putting it into the universe, and what you put out there is going to come back 10 times for sure. I just know it. So
yes, that's how we feel. I mean, we all have our ups and downs. Like even coming off the event, like I felt myself reverting right back into my old habits. And it's just recognizing that and making the impact greater than you, making it bigger than what you want to accomplish, and showing what other people are showing others what they're capable of, like identifying their true powers. And that has just been such an eye opener for us. It's been such an eye-opener for us because it's allowed us to realize it's not just the Jeff and Jody show. And that's something that it takes a couple of times to figure it out. There's so many people that just step in. They have like, oh, I've done this and I've done this, and they haven't done anything. So once you realize that the world is bigger than you, it really is mind-boggling what you can come up with.
definitely.
So we were just lagging a little bit there, but and I think Todd hopped on live. Hi, Todd. Thanks for watching.
Hi, Mr. Campbell. See you next month.
Yeah.
So for your guys', we'll just shift it onto the family before we end our episode. But what are some of your guys' family goals? Like, do you guys have any fun, exciting trips planned as a family? What is some things that you've been able to knock off your bucket list since being able to do this?
So the number one is to start traveling with our family in an RV. That's going to be such an adventure. We're going to start in Montana, then go down to Oregon and up to Washington, and then we're going to go over to the island and surf and mountain bike because that's what we love to do. I just want to surf all summer long. Like, that's all we want to do.
We just want to be outside all summer long. We're a summer family through and through. We love the beaches, lakes, oceans, anything on the water, anything, anywhere outside. That's what we were born to do.
Yes, exactly. So that's definitely something we have planned. Knock off the bucket list. We haven't really created a bucket list yet, actually. Like, we just go with the flow. We're such like, we just do something and make our mind, and then we just do it. Like selling our house. We're like, okay, let's sell our house. Okay, put it up. We just moved like 2 years ago from a house that we just said that would be our forever house. And then we just like, as soon as we get an intention, we're like, let's just do it.
Yeah, we're very spontaneous that way. We don't have a bucket list. It's like, we want to do something, we do it now. Boom.
Yeah, and if I think about it, like jumping out of an airplane, I'll never do it.
That's just gonna do it.
I told Jeff when I hit 6A, I told Jeff when we hit 6A that I will jump out of an airplane.
Oh, see, I'm like totally scared of heights. I'm probably going to need to be pushed out of the airplane, but it's something that I want to do. I'll need someone to literally push me out.
That's how I feel. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
Oh, you'll be great. And you know what? You guys are gonna hit 6A, so be prepared to jump out of that plane now.
That is the plan. Oh my gosh.
Hi guys.
On that note, I just want to thank you guys for coming out and dropping all of your value.
Hi.
And, I know so many people needed to hear this message from you guys. You guys, your energy is amazing. We're so thankful for you. We have so much gratitude for everybody who popped on and was witness to this wonderful couple. And we're just excited to see what you guys are going to crush out in the next year and on.
Right.
So,
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for having us. Really appreciate it.
Much appreciated from you girls and everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.